Dr. U.R. Anantha Murthy was born in 1932 in a remote village of Shimoga district. He belonged to an Orthodox Brahmin family. His early education was in a traditional Pathshala. Later he went to University of Mysore and University of Birmingham. He began his career as a lecturer in English in 1956. Then onwards his career graph soared and he held various prominent positions. He has many publications to his credit. He received several awards for his works. Today we are going to talk about his novel Samskara. The novel Samskara was first published by Manohar Granthmala in 1965 in the Kannada language. Later it was translated into English by A.K. Ramanujan and was published by the Oxford University Press in 1976. The novel Samskara has been translated into English, Russian, French, Hindi, and many other languages. In 1970, it was made into an award-winning film. Samskara is the story of life in an agrahara in which Brahmins belonging to the Madhava community live. The agrahara of Samskara is situated in a hamlet called Durvasapura, somewhere in southern India. The Brahmins of this agrahara are hypocrites. They are narrow-minded, selfish, greedy, and jealous. Their Brahminhood consists solely of fulfilling certain rules and traditions which are thousands of years old. And they do not understand why they follow these rules. They just follow rules for the sake of following them. They are afraid that if they do not follow the rules, disaster will fall upon them. They feel protected as long as they follow these traditions and rules. The story has three main characters: Praneshacharya, Naranappa, and Chandri. Praneshacharya is the most respected Brahmin of Durvasapura, whereas Naranappa is labeled as a scoundrel. Praneshacharya is the local guru of all the Brahmins of Durvasapura and also of those living in the surrounding villages. Praneshacharya has deliberately married a Sikh woman. He leads a life of celibacy and is proud of his self-sacrifice. His life is totally devoted to religion. Naranappa, on the other hand, is the opposite of Praneshacharya. Naranappa, though a Brahmin by caste, defies all rules of Brahminhood and is disliked by everybody. He lives openly with a prostitute named Chandri. He drinks alcohol in front of everybody. He invites his Muslim friends to his house and eats meat with them. On one occasion, he even caught sacred fish from the temple tank, cooked them and ate them. The other Brahmins of Durvasapura were aghast at his unholy act. They wanted to get rid of Naranappa, but Praneshacharya is against their radical step. He wants to lead Naranappa back to the proper path. The novel starts with Chandri hurrying to Praneshacharya's house to inform him of Naranappa's death. One of the rules that are followed by the Brahmins is that when somebody dies, the body should be cremated immediately, and as long as the dead body is lying around, nobody should have food. So the question is, who would cremate Naranappa? Nobody is ready to cremate him. They go to Praneshacharya to find an answer to this question. Praneshacharya reads many holy books, but he is not able to find any answer. The next morning he goes to Maruti temple in the hope of finding an answer. The whole day passes, but he is not able to find any answer. Praneshacharya walks through the forest homewards. He hears somebody walking behind him. He stops and he sees that Chandri is there. She bends down to touch his feet. He does not realize his own impulsive feelings, and he develops a physical intimacy with Chandri. Praneshacharya decides to speak out this truth in front of the other Brahmins. He returns home. Chandri goes back home and sees that the dead body of Naranappa has started to rot. So she gets hold of a Muslim and gets it cremated in the dead of the night. Chandri then leaves for Kundapura. In the morning, Praneshacharya follows his usual routine of bathing his sick wife. And it is for the first time that he becomes aware of beauty and ugliness. He had read all the classics, but he had never desired any of the beauty he had read in them. Praneshacharya now wanted all this beauty and physical intimacy for himself. There is a plague in the village. Praneshacharya runs away from home after his wife dies of plague. But wherever he goes, he is reminded of Chandri and her touch. Praneshacharya decides to proceed towards Kundapura to meet Chandri. On his way, he meets a young talkative man named Putta. Putta does not know that the man he has met is Praneshacharya, and he takes him for a mendicant Brahmin who is seeking alms. Putta takes Praneshacharya to a temple festival. Praneshacharya sees a cockfight nearby and then a young girl performing acrobatics on a bamboo pole. Acharya is attracted to the curves of the acrobatic girl and is reminded of Chandri. Putta then takes Acharya to a restaurant and gets him a cup of coffee. Then he also takes him to the house of a young woman whose name is Padmavati. Praneshacharya had discovered many things about himself and his life. He decides to return to Durvasapura to redefine his personality without any guilt. The novel ends with Praneshacharya going back to Durvasapura to tell the truth, only the truth, to all the people. Let us have a look at the important points related to the novel Samskara. The title of the novel. The choice of the title Samskara is particularly appropriate for this novel. It means the last rites of a dead man, or if we talk about the literal meaning in Sanskrit, it means to improve, to purify, or to refine. It is basically a process of transformation. Thus, the process by which impurities are removed and perfection acquired is samskara. Symbolism in the novel. Death in samskara is not just limited to the physical death, it extends to the symbolic and the communal death. The deaths of Naranappa and Bhagirathi assume a larger meaning for the Brahmins' freedom and awakening. The gradual decomposition of Naranappa's body represents the decaying Brahmin community. Pranishacharya's sick wife is symbolic of the drying up of human passions. In opposition to his wife, Chandri is beautiful and passionate. The forest is symbolic of the sensual pleasures. The temple festival is symbolic of zest and lust where life overflows. The major themes in the novel are related to the several levels of conflict. There is a conflict between tradition and modernity. The novel interrogates Brahmanism and severe traditions. The conflict between the individual and the codes of society bring forth the tension between orthodoxies and the human spirit. It talks of the battle between dharma and adharma. It is a novel about self-discovery. It is about Pranishacharya's quest and his realization. The journey of Pranishacharya is both metaphorical and literal. The night in the forest marks a stage of change, whereby Pranishacharya realizes that life has much more to it, and one can even become what one initially disliked. The novel has an open ending with Pranishacharya going back to Durvasapura to reveal the truth. He does not feel guilty. He realizes that this self-discovery was important. Thank you. Have a good day.